On day 1, I spawned in as a baby Hydra God in the glorious city of Olympus. Standing before me among the other Olympians was the ruler, the mighty god Zeus.
Welcome to the well, Bronzo.
Suddenly, dark clouds gathered in the sky, and a horrible reaper descended over us.
I'll be taking over this city.
He zapped Zeus with dark magic, causing him to go into a frenzy. He unleashed his lightning down onto Olympus, burning the city and my other godly friends to a crisp. People screamed and fell left and right to the overwhelming might of Zeus. Zeus, what's gotten into you? To my horror, he turned his sights on me and released a heavy blow, leaving me with low health. He was going to kill me. I ran away as fast as my 4 legs could carry me, as Zeus followed me in close pursuit. Something was horribly wrong with him. I made it to the edge of Olympus when the Reaper flew up in my path.
You fool! I control the gods now!
On day 2, I was trapped between the Reaper and mind-controlled Zeus. They were closing in quick, but I had an idea. I used my Hydra God wings to fly away, just before the 2 of them could hit me with their attacks.
Get him!
The king of the gods used his lightning power to teleport away from his location. I landed on a nearby bridge, and Zeus appeared right in front of me. He attacked me with a strong spinning move, hitting me with his electrified sword and shield. Unfortunately, this attack was too much for me, causing my wing to get injured. Zeus hit me again, knocking me off of Olympus. I plummeted down to my doom, but luckily I managed to land into the ocean, saving me from fall damage. Out of nowhere, Poseidon swam up in front of me. Poseidon, please help! Zeus is being mind-controlled!
You will die in the name of the Reaper.
The aquatic god charged at me and attacked. The Reaper had already gained control of him too. Poseidon spun his trident above his head, sending powerful streams of water at me, causing me to fly backwards. Suddenly, he summoned a massive whirlpool around me that I couldn't escape. The strong tides whipped me around within the cyclone, dwindling my health even further. His control of the currents caused me to plunge deeper into the depths, making my escape nearly impossible. With his trident, he swung left, right, and center, then proceeded to launch it at me. But luckily, I was able to dodge it. Poseidon's onslaught of attacks were too much for my baby Hydra God body. There was no way I could win this fight. I didn't stand a chance against him, so I swam away as fast as I could.
Sharks, after him!
On day 3, I was being chased by a swarm of Poseidon's sharks. They were faster swimmers than me, so I wasn't going to be able to stay ahead for too long. Luckily, I spotted a nearby shipwreck and swam inside it to hide. Poseidon is being mind-controlled too. How am I supposed to find help? Suddenly, the sharks broke through the walls of the wreck, leaving me completely surrounded with nowhere to run. No! Leave me alone! I felt an overwhelming power surge through my body, and I unleashed powerful light magic that sent the sharks flying back. I had unlocked my godly Hydra powers. Now's my chance! While they were stunned, I fled from Poseidon's goons as fast as I could. I paddled my way towards the surface, but it wasn't long before the sharks began to chase me again. They were closing in, but thankfully, I made it back to shore, narrowly avoiding their razor-sharp teeth. I didn't have a moment to rest as lightning struck down near me, and Zeus had once again tracked me down.
Die, Hydra!
The god unleashed another lightning attack, and I braced myself. On days 4 through 5, I thought I was struck by lightning, but I managed to unleash a godly shield to protect myself. The light magic left me with only half a heart. Zeus charged up another attack, and I made a run for it. With my injured wing, I could no longer fly, leaving me at a huge disadvantage. I need to take cover before the lightning strikes again. I ran into a nearby cave and didn't look back. Once the coast was clear, I looked around to find I was in a creepy graveyard that had been lost to time. I have a bad feeling about this place. To my surprise, skeletons popped out from the ground and began to come after me. I now had my godly powers to defend myself, but I only had half a heart. A single hit from the skeleton army would have ended my life in an instant. Lucky for me, my divine strength gave me the power to slowly regain my health with every hit I dealt onto my enemies. Though the skeletons had the advantage with numbers, so I had to fight smart. I struck the horde with my godly powers and caused chains to wrap around them, holding them down. Unfortunately, the shaman skeletons healed the others during the battle, giving them the edge. I maneuvered through the pack, trying not to get hit, and striked when I could. My powers were enough to take out a few of the skeletons, but more and more continued to come after me. I was starting to get overwhelmed by their numbers. No, I have to hold on. Eventually, they became too much. The horde closed in on me, and everything went dark. On days 6 through 7, I woke up in the underworld. I was trapped inside of a cage that was hanging over a pit of boiling blue lava. Standing before me was the god of the underworld, Hades. What's going on?
My skeleton army has brought you to me. I'll kill you myself, and the Reaper will be pleased.
Not you too! The bottom of the cage opened beneath my feet, sending me falling towards my fiery doom. Just before I was going to hit the lava, a strider walked by, allowing me to land on them instead.
Oh! Cerberus, get him!
The demon hound Cerberus revealed himself to me and began running in my direction. I don't want to be dog food! I hopped off the strider and got onto shore as the three-headed wolf followed after me. On days 8 through 9, I was being chased by Cerberus through the flaming hot climate of the underworld. The demon dog was fast on his feet and was more familiar with his surroundings. I wasn't going to be able to run forever. I had to shake him off my tail somehow, so I ran into a nearby village of piglins and took cover. I held my breath as Cerberus sniffed around the area for me. If he picked up my scent, I was a goner. Just then, I felt a presence next to me. I looked and realized it was one of the piglin residents.
Gold? Gold!
The pig loaded his crossbow and began attacking me. He was after my gold armor plates. These aren't yours! I unleashed my godly powers onto the piglin to defend myself from the attack. He was just a mortal. That was no match for my divine power. I overwhelmed him and he fell to my might, leaving nothing but a gold ingot behind. Unfortunately for me, the commotion attracted the attention of Cerberus. The demon hound ran at me full speed, and I braced myself for the worst. On days 10 through 11, I was facing off with Hades' companion, Cerberus. I knew I may not stand a chance, but I had to try to fend for myself. I blasted him with a burst of radiance. The hellhound retaliated with a fierce bite, exerting tons of force down onto me. He swiped with his razor-sharp claws. The gleaming weapons made of pure light I conjured seared Cerberus's flesh. He yelped in pain and redoubled his savage attacks. Despite my struggle, I was no match for Cerberus's strength. I had to think of something, otherwise I was going to be dog kibble. Wait, I have an idea! I took out the golden ingot from the piglin I had faced and threw it in Cerberus's direction. Look, gold! The entire piglin village turned on Cerberus and attacked him for the golden ingot. The dog and the pigs fought each other tooth and nail. The piglins wasted no time and surrounded Cerberus in a circle, striking him repeatedly with their golden swords. Cerberus tried to fight back, taking on any piglin that stood in his way, but the army was too large for him to fight. He dodged them down with his ghostly howls, but the army didn't back down, picking off the horde one by one. He continued to use his nasty bite to tear through the pack of piglins. In a final attempt to flee, Cerberus pounced out of the crowd, but the piglins caught up with him and had him surrounded again. Despite the struggle, Cerberus couldn't overpower any of the piglins. They slayed the hound and claimed their golden ingot prize. That's what you get for messing with a Hydra God! Suddenly, Hades himself appeared before me.
No! Cerberus! You'll pay for this.
Hades readied his weapon and charged at me. I had no choice but to run. On days 12 through 14, I was being pursued by the enraged god of the underworld. I ran as fast as I could. I was low on health from my previous encounters, so I wouldn't stand a chance. However, I was soon cornered with nowhere to run.
This is the end of the line for you.
Hades swung his axe at me to land the killing blow, but accidentally took one of my heads instead. 2 heads grew in its place, and my body grew larger than before. I was now an adult Hydra God with 15 hearts and the ability to wield flames. You just made a grave mistake. With my health fully restored and my wings healed, I was now stronger than ever. I jumped into the fray, ready to defend myself. With the power of my new scythe of flames, I unleashed a flurry of fiery blades blades around my body, allowing me to create space between Hades and I. Unfortunately for me, he wouldn't give up so easily. Hades was a master of his axe. He swung in succession, creating a deadly combo. If I wasn't so strong myself, I'd be a goner. I had come too far to give up. I continued to use my new abilities, jumping into the air and landing with a blazing crash. I could tell Hades wasn't having much fun against me. He tried to trap me with a cage, but I was done being locked up. I was a free Hydra God. Unleashing more godly power against the Lord of the Underworld, I was beginning to get the edge of him. With one last hope of defeating me, Hades grasped me with the power of undead souls. Luckily, I was able to break out and stand my ground. I've had enough, Hades! I unleashed everything I had in my arsenal and brought Hades to his knees.
My head. What happened?
Just then, the Reaper appeared before us.
What are you doing? Kill him!
Run, Bronzo!
On days 15 to 17, I was running away as the Reaper and Hades followed me in chase, continuing fighting it out. The Reaper towered over Hades, spinning and thrashing his long arms towards the god of the underworld. Hades fought back valiantly, swinging his axe at the Reaper's skeletal form and using his portals to summon more energy, but it wasn't enough. It looked like either side could win until the Reaper got a sneaky hit on Hades. He had the god of the underworld on the ropes.
I won't serve you any longer.
Is that so? Well, since you won't be my pawn anymore, you're useless to me.
Then, in a burst of dark energy, the Reaper struck Hades down and killed him. No! He can not only control gods, but he also kills them? Suddenly, the Reaper turned his sights to me.
You're not getting away, little Hydra.
I didn't stand a chance to his level of power, so I ran away while I still could. The Reaper chased after me. On days 18 through 20, I was being chased by the Reaper. After a while, they started to gain on me. I didn't think I was gonna make it. To my surprise, I spotted something in the distance. A portal! That's my escape! I ran to it to escape the Reaper. Here goes nothing! Once I had jumped through the portal, I was in the overworld, and I quickly broke the portal so the Reaper couldn't make it through. Okay, that should keep him out. Suddenly, the Reaper teleported behind me. How did you find me?
I have the eyes of the gods on you. As long as I control them, you cannot escape me.
The Reaper prepared to land a final blow to kill me, but before he could, a female spirit watcher flew in and bit the Reaper.
Ah! You pest!
After she bit the Reaper, he was dazed, and she turned and talked to me.
Get out of here before he gets you. I will stall him.
Without hesitation, I ran and took to the skies. On days 21 to 23, I was flying through the skies again to gain space between the Reaper and I. Get away from me, you undead freak of nature! Suddenly, the clouds began to gather, and the sky grew dark once again. What is it this time? With a flash before my eyes, our leader, Zeus, appeared before me with a looming presence. Please, Zeus, it's me, Bronzo. Don't you remember?
Bronzo? I don't recognize you. My sole purpose is to eliminate you for the almighty Reaper. Now stop wasting my time and die.
From the clouds of the dark skies, Zeus formed a giant lightning ball and aimed it right at me, causing massive amounts of damage. I fell from the sky almost instantly, thinking I would die from fall damage. But instead of hitting the ground, I landed onto a soft cloud. What the? That's when I realized the spirit from before had conjured up a cloud to save me.
Come with me before Zeus catches us.
Without hesitation, I followed the Spirit Watcher. It was that or be smote by Zeus himself. On days 24 to 26, I followed the mysterious creature. She led me to a secret village full of mobs that looked just like her. What is this place?
This is the village of the Spirit Watchers. We protect gods just like you, but we need your help.
What can I do?
You alone can free the gods from the Reaper's mind control. If you don't, then nothing will stop the Reaper from consuming everything in darkness.
Abruptly, the sky grew dark and lightning struck down in front of us. From the blast, Zeus appeared.
All of you will fall to the might of the Reaper.
Please, have mercy.
This is my mercy.
He laughed and began to destroy everything in the Spirit Watcher village, just as he had done to Olympus. It all happened so fast, there was no time to do anything. The Spirit Watchers fell to his power in hordes.
Quickly, come with me.
I followed the spirit to an ancient tunnel.
Go through here and find the possessed gods. Please, your only hope.
There is no escaping me.
The Spirit Watcher was struck down before my very eyes. No! I could hardly believe what had just happened, but I had to go. I continued into the tunnel before Zeus would kill me too.
You can't run forever.
On days 27 to 29, I ventured through the tunnels of the caves below the surface. My heart raced as I ran as fast as I could. This place is creepy! Suddenly, without warning, a swarm of cave dwellers pounced on me, their aggressive onslaught pushing me into a battle stance. The fight was instant. My movements were swift and calculated as I engaged the cave dwellers, my blows landing with precision. They kept coming without rest. Although they were small, their bites packed a powerful punch. I continued using my godly power to suppress them and turn them into dust. Leave me alone! Eventually, as I continued to land critical strikes, I eradicated all the tiny spiders. However, my momentary relief was shattered by a low, ominous growl. My heart raced as I spun around to face a monstrous silhouette, a giant cave dweller. The ground seemed to tremble beneath its massive form as it let out a deafening roar that reverbed through the tunnel. Ah! Instinct and survival kicked in as I abandoned the fallen cave dwellers and sprinted away from the approaching giant. Its monstrous roar was matched by the pounding of my heart as I fled through the darkness. The light at the end of the tunnel beckoned me, and with each step, my determination surged. Legs don't fail me now! On days 30 to 32, I escaped from the tunnel before the giant cave dweller could capture me. That was a close one. I guess that spider thing doesn't like the sun. Once I caught my breath and regained my bearings, I realized the tunnel had exited right in front of a massive Greek Colosseum. This looks important. I went inside to check it out, but just as I entered, the gates closed shut behind me. That can't be good. The god of war, Ares, strolled out from the spectators section of the Colosseum.
Looks like I've got myself a prize. If it isn't the godly Hydra, I think I'll have a bit of fun before turning you over to the Reaper.
Fun?
Welcome to the Tournament of Champions. Fight or face death.
Ares shouted, and underneath him, a gate opened.
Behold, your first opponent.
They darted out from their holding cell and attacked. The Minotaur immediately swung his giant axe. It crashed into the earth with terrifying power, scattering debris. I had my own axe to retaliate with, though, and mine was infused with godly might. I hit back hard, enraging the Minotaur further. He lowered his horns and ran at me, trying to gore me with his sharp horns. I leapt out of the way just in time and saw an opening. With my flame scythe in hand, I dashed forward and sliced at him, searing his fur and tough hide with its might. The Minotaur seemed to slow down at this. Now was my chance to finish him. Quick as a bullet, I lunged forward for the final blow.
Not bad. You won this fight. But how will you do against the next foe?
That was just the beginning? This is going to be a challenge. On days 33 to 35, another formidable foe revealed themselves to me. They were a massive and menacing creature that seemed to embody terror itself. Ares' voice echoed in the air.
Can you defeat the horrible End Beast? Let's see who wins.
Without hesitation, the beast lunged at me, and the fight was on. I pulled out my trusty flame scythe. It hadn't failed me yet. I sliced at him, summoning swirling blades of fire to spin around me and shred the beast. This creature's natural armor was harder than any others before it, though, and my scythe barely left a scorch mark. It used both its nasty claws to try to grab at me, and the points dug into me and tore my skin, hurting me badly. The clash was fierce, but this opponent was on a whole different level. Its strength was overpowering, and I could feel my health dwindling rapidly with each exchange. Desperation set in as I struggled to keep up, knowing that defeat was imminent if I didn't find a solution quickly. I need to get a hit from behind. With a surge of determination, I positioned myself in front of one of the tunnel walls, bracing myself. I taunted the massive beast. "Hey, big guy, come and get me!" The End Beast roared in response. a thunderous sound that shook the tunnel. It charged at full speed, and at the last possible moment, I took flight, soaring into the sky just before impact. The beast rammed into the wall with tremendous force, stunning itself temporarily. Now's my chance! Seizing the opportunity, I descended upon the temporarily incapacitated beast, landing a powerful strike. The end beast faltered, its monstrous form collapsing as my attack took effect. The ground trembled as it fell defeated. Haha! Take that!
Congratulations! You've made it to the final round. It's time to face off with the champion.
And who's your final champion?
Me!
Before I could even react, Ares came down to the battlefield. On days 36 to 38, I was facing off in the Tournament of Champions with none other than the god of war himself, Ares. My health was already low from the battles that had led me here, forcing me to tread carefully and not be reckless in my actions. As the fight commenced, I braced myself for the challenge ahead. Ares wasted no time. He spun with his razor-sharp spear, sending me flying backward. As I landed a distance away, he sprinted at me to try to run me through with his spear. I wasn't giving up yet. The final fight had only just begun. I leapt out of the way and retaliated with all the godly might I could muster. He was even tougher than Hades though, but I knew I couldn't die here. I kept going. Despite his immense strength, the urgency of my situation sparked an idea. This is risky, but I have to try. Taking a calculated gamble, I allowed Ares to strike on my heads. In that moment, transformation surged through me, granting me new power and vitality. I emerged with 4 heads, 5 additional hearts, and a newfound strength that set me apart from above. The fight continued, and I harnessed my new power to the fullest. Every move I made was fueled by the strength of my transformation, and I fought with a determination that matched Ares' own ferocity. Each bolt of lightning that struck him made him weaker and weaker. He wasn't the god of war for nothing though. Even with his strength sapped, he fought viciously. Each spear strike and shield bash calculated in a way that would hurt me most. As the battle raged on, my efforts paid off. I managed to break through Ares' relentless assault, snapping him out of the aggressive frenzy that had consumed him. Recognition flickered in his eyes, and he spoke with a hint of confusion.
Bronzo? Oh no, you have to hurry. Athena is planning something horrible in the Mystic Forest.
Say no more. I'll check it out. On days 39 to 41, I arrived in the Mystic Forest to stop whatever it was that Athena was planning. Now, where could she be? As I continued forward, I noticed a sign. Stay on the path or perish? Yikes. Noted. I walked down the path as the sign warned. Better to be safe than sorry. I continued to travel through the forest, but something felt off. It felt like I was walking in circles. Didn't I see that lava pool before? This isn't right. In order to get a better view, I took to the sky. Before I could get too far though, I was suddenly teleported back to the ground. What? Someone is messing with me. That's it. I'm breaking this cycle. Ignoring all warnings from the sign, I hopped off the path. That should do it. Suddenly, I was hit with a blast of dark magic. It was so powerful that before I knew what happened, I passed out. On days 42 to 44, I was trapped with a strange vision. I found myself in a part of the forest that felt inherently darker, more sinister even. Dead trees cast eerie shadows, and an unsettling atmosphere hung heavily in the air. My mind whirled with confusion as I tried to make sense of my surroundings. Where am I? Is this what Athena had been up to? Guided by an impulse I couldn't fully comprehend, I walked deeper into the area, only to stumble upon a shocking sight. There stood Athena herself, performing a dark ritual centered around a plant within a summoning circle. My heart raced as I listened to her ominous declaration.
Once this plant is fully grown, the Reaper will have power over the whole world.
She then threw a splash potion on the plant, and it grew into a giant monster. I knew then I had to end her nasty plot. Stop right there! Before I could even reach her, she cast a spell, and a surge of magical energy struck me with devastating force. The impact left me reeling, my strength depleted.
Surrender to me.
No, this isn't right! I have to snap out of it! Summoning the last of my strength, I turned and fled, Athena's pursuit echoing in my ears. As I raced through the darkened forest, I caught sight of a spirit watcher. I knew instinctively that they were here to aid me, to guide me toward a path of escape. This is my only hope! On days 45 to 47, I woke up from the dream, completely healed. I was inside a dark tower, and before me stood an enchanter.
I've seen you've broken free of your nightmare.
It was you, wasn't it? You're the one who trapped me in the forest.
Yes, of course it was. I wasn't going to let you stop Athena's plans. Soon, her plant will reach full maturity and consume everything. Now perish!
The enchanter unleashed a flurry of magic, attacking me. With his first move, he summoned powerful ruins that appeared on the ground beneath them, turning them into dangerous terrain. Right off the bat, I knew I had to stop this move as soon as possible. I used my divine stomping powers to pummel him, canceling the attack. With a wave of his wand, he was able to conjure some arcane turrets that assisted him and blasted me with beams of energy. I had to finish this soon, or he would continue to conjure more weapons to swarm me. I channeled everything I had into a whirl of rapid attacks, using my flame scythe, divine lightning, and godly blows to overwhelm him. Thankfully, it was enough. The enchanter was defeated, barely able to stand on his own 2 feet. Why are you laughing? I defeated you.
It doesn't matter if I die here. The curse of the forest will consume you before you ever reach Athena.
Finally, the enchanter gave in and died. That can't be good. I continued with my journey, feeling a bit uneasy. As I ventured through the forest once more, a sense of unease hung in the air. My guard was up, every rustling leaf or sound catching my attention. Suspicion pricked at me, and I couldn't shake the feeling that I wasn't alone. Who's there? In an attempt to ward off the perceived threat, I blasted some of my powers into the underbrush, only to startle a small woodland creature that scurried away in fear. Oops, maybe I'm imagining things. My unease was not unfounded. Suddenly, with a shocking abruptness, the tranquility of the forest was shattered. Plant monsters born from the very essence of the forest itself ambushed me from all sides. The mutated flower creature dug its vines up from the earth, using them to lash at me like whips. It followed up with a spray of poisonous vapors that I did my best to evade. Using my celestial abilities, I stomped the ground, hoping to disrupt its roots and harm it. The plant only got angrier, and before I knew it, humanoid creatures began appearing from the edges of the clearing, entering the battle. They lunged at me with their thorn-like claws, tearing at every inch of me they could reach. The fight that ensued was overwhelming. With every moment that passed, more of the humanoid plant monsters emerged, a relentless tide that threatened to overpower me. Realization dawned as I shouted amidst the chaos, "This must be the curse of the forest!" But despite my best efforts, I couldn't keep up with the onslaught. The plant monsters multiplied, their aggressive pursuit pushing me to the brink. With the odds stacked against me, I made a split-second decision. Taking to the air, I soared away from the chaotic battlefield and swarmed off plant monsters in a relentless pursuit. On days 51 to 53, I was being chased by the horde of cursed plant monsters. As I dashed away, one of them shot a projectile that tore through my wing, injuring it badly. I can't escape! Suddenly, a little woodland creature called out to me from the trees.
Quickly, come with me before the forest swallows you whole.
You don't need to tell me twice. I darted after them into a hiding spot in a large tree. I peeked over the edge, and at the bottom of the trunk, all of the plant monsters were surrounding the tree, waiting for me to leave. What's going on here?
This curse fell on the forest ever since the Reaper took control of Athena.
Do you know where I can find her?
She resides in the forbidden sector of the mystic forest, but going there is a death sentence.
It doesn't matter. I have to try. Take me there, please. On days 54 to 56, I followed the woodland creature's lead. I ventured deeper into the forbidden section of the forest. My surroundings mirrored the haunting scenes from my nightmares, and a chill ran down my spine as I took in the eerie familiarity. It looks just like my nightmare. Suddenly, I spotted the horde of plant monsters coming in the distance. They had to have followed me here.
I'll distract them. Good luck, Bronzo.
The woodland creature ran back into the fray, and I pressed on deeper into the forbidden forest, hoping to not get caught. As I traveled into the forest, I was met with a large section of crocodile-infested water. If only I could still fly! Looks like I have to platform through this one. Without thinking twice about it, I jumped from lily pad to lily pad as the crocodiles snapped at me from their murky waters below. Everything was going well until I made a jump and almost fell into my demise. That was a close one, a little too close. I kept jumping, and finally I made it to the other side narrowly. I proceeded onward and arrived at the summoning circle from my nightmare. There, the mutant plant was waiting for me. All right, I just gotta kill it. Okay, it's time for some weed whacking. On days 57 to 59, I jumped into combat with the mutant plant. It spewed explosive seeds from its buds, then sprawled poisonous fumes like a sprinkler around it. It lashed at me with its whip-like vines. It also released some pesky flies that would swarm me and bite. Despite this just being a plant, it was super tough, especially without my wings. I knew I couldn't give up. I continued to fight back against the beast. Things were looking rough though. If I didn't finish this soon, I was gonna die. As luck would have it, I was able to land a hit that seemed to stun the beast for a moment. Now was my chance. I ran for the final blow. You're finished! Before I could strike the plant, none other than Athena herself jumped into battle, blasting me back.
I won't let you ruin my plans. You're going to have to go through me.
Good. I was looking for you anyway. Without another word, the goddess of wisdom attacked. On days 60 to 62, I engaged in combat with Athena, even with the plant monster continuing to attack me. 2 versus 1? Now this can't be fair.
Nothing in life is fair.
The battle was tough, and they had me on the ropes, but I had too much on the line to give up now. Athena summoned olive trees out of thin air, which attacked with their sharp branches whenever I would get too close to them. When I thought it could not get any worse, out from the ground came more plant bulbs that released toxic fumes. I tried to dodge, but there were too many things to defend myself against. Athena also had her spear, which she used to send a flurry of attacks against me. I retaliated with all the godly abilities I have been using, and focused all my efforts into hoping she would snap out of it. She was relentless, using her power to summon the owl from earlier to attack me, and a cloud of storm to shoot spheres of green energy towards me. Luckily for me, and unfortunately for Athena, she took off one of my heads, allowing me to transform into a 5-headed Hydra, along with gaining 5 hearts and a new power. You just made a grave error.
What did you do?
I didn't hold back on unleashing all of my power onto Athena, and with my wings healed, I could feel all of my strength surging through me. Athena tried to get me, but I was far too elusive for her to deal any real damage. Finally, I unleashed a massive holy power onto her, forcing her to snap out of it.
Oh no, I am so sorry. Let's get rid of this plant.
I used my new gravity well power to force the plant into a dark energy mass that it couldn't escape. The plant was strong and kept fighting back, sprouting more roots and toxins in the air. Athena summoned more of her cloud energy to retaliate against the plant, hoping it would die out. Eventually, after some valiant fighting with our forces combined, Athena and I were able to obliterate the plant once and for all. That's what you get for messing with a god. Suddenly, fires began to pop up around us. The forest was being set ablaze. What's going on?
Something isn't right. I'll evacuate the wildlife. You investigate the source of the fires.
I listened to Athena and flew off to scope out the area. On days 63 to 66, I flew over to the flames and discovered a group of fire elementals setting the environment ablaze. Hey you, what are you doing?
We work for the god of fire, Hephaestus. In his honor, we're going to bathe the world in flames.
Laughing, the elementals blasted me with fire. The Reaper must have gotten Hephaestus too. I have to stop these guys before they burn down the whole forest. The fire elementals sprouted blasts of blazing hot flames at me, along with chunks of magma that seared my skin. It was nothing in the face of the devastation they would bring if left unchecked. I solideered through the pain and struck back at them, using all my abilities to my advantage. My new gravity well came in super handy. It was able to draw them all into one spot and make it easier to hit them. Finally, only one elemental remained.
If you kill us, you will get the mark of Hephaestus. He will be able to track your every move and kill you himself.
It's a risk I have to take. You cannot terrorize this forest any longer. Just like the fire elemental said, as soon as they were defeated, I was marked. That must be the mark of Hephaestus. So that means...
For killing my men, you will face my wrath. I, the god of fire, will personally kill you.
On days 67 to 70, I was being pursued by Hephaestus. I gotta lure him away from here. I flew out of the forest in order to protect the creatures inside. I would rather be dead than them. Come and get me, Hephaestus. You're too slow. I was lying to myself. No matter where I ran, Hephaestus was able to find me because I was marked. I can't run forever. I gotta get creative. Noticing a weak point in a sandy area, I had formed an idea. Hey, hothead, come and get me.
You cannot escape.
I lured Hephaestus to a weak point and had him smash his hammer into the ground. It began to crumble beneath us, and before either of us could react, we both fell into the ground. On days 71 to 74, I woke up in a lava-filled cavern with an arena at the center of it. Inside were me and Hephaestus, face to face with each other.
Your trap may have weakened me, but nothing will stop me from destroying you for the Reaper.
We'll see about that. Without a second doubt, I charged into the fight and unleashed my rage onto Hephaestus. He leaped at me with his hammer, held high over his head. Thanks to his muscles of steel, the force with which he brought down his hammer seared the ground and sent forth a sizzling wave of lava in my direction. I dodged out of the way and called forth a hail of lightning to rain down on him. With a roar, he raised his fist and a volcano erupted from the earth, along with some summoned minions. The little fire elementals joined the fray, spitting flames and trying to hit me, but even with them, I was gaining traction. I knew I would have him soon. He was tough though. Although I thought I was winning, he would not give in to my might. Take this and give up already! I charged up a powerful attack and blasted him over the edge into the scorching hot lava below. His heavy molten body sank slowly into the fiery pool. I thought it was over. Take that! Work smarter, not harder. Suddenly, he emerged from the lava in an even more powerful form. Wait, what?
You fool!
On days 75 to 77, I was face to face with an all-powerful Hephaestus. I could hardly believe my eyes. What? You didn't burn up?
Of course I didn't. I'm the god of fire. Lava, magma, all things hot make me even stronger.
With a cruel laugh, Hephaestus threw himself at me again, his blazing hot powers at an all-time maximum. This new form of Hephaestus's slammed his fists down on the ground, causing the earth to rumble and a wave of stone and lava to surge in my direction. It hit me with the force of 1,000 suns, leaving me scorched. He was also a lot quicker than he seemed in this form. He jumped and stomped, demonstrating his fury. Each one shook my bones to the core. Even more terrifyingly, he shrugged my own attacks on him off, like I was nothing but a flea. I was starting to realize that my plan earlier had been a fatal error. I pushed him to extremes that I couldn't reach yet. I battled with everything I had to offer, but I didn't stand a chance against this new version of him. I can't win like this! I had to flee, fast as I could. I jumped into the air and flew for the sky.
You're not getting away!
On days 78 to 80, as the empowered fire god relentlessly pursued me out from underground, a sense of urgency weighed heavily on my mind. It was clear that my mark wouldn't allow me to escape this formidable foe, and I needed to devise a plan swiftly. I've got it! With determination fueling my actions, I took to the skies, soaring over the vast ocean below. My goal was to lure Hephaestus, the fire god, along with me. The anticipation was palpable as I guided him towards a fateful confrontation. The moment arrived as Hephaestus closed in, the intensity of the situation peaking. In a calculated move, I shot upwards into the sky, unleashing a powerful blast that struck him head on. The force of the impact sent Hephaestus hurtling down into the ocean below.
Ah! It burns!
In the wake of the powerful blast, the transformation that had empowered him began to unravel, leaving behind his normal form. As Hephaestus emerged from the ocean, I felt a rush of energy and newfound vitality surging through me. The mark that had tormented me vanished. Its influence finally broke.
I can't believe the Reaper did this to me. Thank you.
No problem. That's what I'm here for. But the moment was shattered as the Reaper, the source of all this chaos, appeared before us. My instincts kicked in, and without hesitation, I knew what I needed to do. But Hephaestus had other plans.
I'll hold him off.
Go, now!
On days 81 to 82, I had nowhere else to flee but into the ocean. As Hephaestus defended me from the Reaper, I dove in, hoping for the best. As I swam, I spotted a shape out of the corner of my eye. It was one of Poseidon's sharks swimming by. Oh no! He's still under the Reaper's influence too! I need to free him next! The shark hadn't spotted me, so I decided to tail them. Hopefully, they would lead me somewhere I could get more intel. Confirming my suspicion, the shark led me to a large underwater pyramid. At the center was an impressive looking treasure chest. Around every corner of the area, there were shark guards patrolling. I wonder what's inside that. It must be important. The shark I had followed was speaking to the guards.
Companions, I have returned from my mission. Guard this chest with your life. It holds the only thing that could ever defeat Lord Poseidon.
Sir, yes, sir!
Something that could defeat Poseidon? That's just what I need! In my excitement, I made too much noise, and the shark's leader spotted me.
Intruder! Get him!
On days 83 to 84, as the swarm of shark guards closed in on me, determination flared within myself, and I engaged in a fierce battle, summoning all my strength and power. The fight was intense. The water around us became a chaotic battleground. The sharks bit with their powerful jaws, causing my health to sap. With so many of them in one area, they went into a feeding frenzy. Their numbers were so enormous, I lost count of them. All I could do was hit them one after another. I used my gravity well to group lots of them together and unleashed a supermassive blast that went along with it. It killed dozens, but more just kept replacing the ones that died. The shark guards were formidable opponents, surprisingly tough and incredibly nimble in the water. They proved to be a fierce challenge. Frustration and surprise mingled in my voice as I shouted, "How are you so strong? You're just fish!"
We are imbued with the power of Poseidon himself. We have the strength that matches that of a god! After him!
The realization that they were empowered by the very force of the sea god made their strength all more daunting. Despite my best efforts, I found myself overwhelmed by their numbers and relentless assaults. With every attack they launched, I fought back with all my might, but there were simply too many of them to contend with. I can't keep up! Recognizing that continuing to fight in this situation was futile, I made a strategic choice. I turned and swam away, my heart racing as I tried to create some distance between myself and the relentless attackers. However, they were not about to let me escape that easily. On days 85 and 86, I was being chased by the pack of sharks. The relentless chase pushed me to my limits, the urgency of the situation demanding constant vigilance and strategy. Amidst the chaotic waters, a glimmer of hope caught my attention. A distant island rising above the surface. Swiftly, I made my way to its shore, my heart pounding with the realization that at least on land, I might find temporary refuge. They can't get me on land, right?
But I can.
However, my relief was short-lived as a menacing presence revealed itself. A massive crab monster stood before me. Don't tell me you work for Poseidon too!
The one and only. Prepare to die, Hydra.
A new battle erupted, this time against the formidable crab monster. Its powerful armored shell presented a challenge, but I was determined not to back down. The fight raged on, each clash forcing me to push through the crab monster's defenses. The monster crab frothed and spat razor-sharp bubbles at me as each one burst against me. They whittled through my own protection and pushed me back. It also harbored a chilly ice punch and slowed me down, and made it easier for him to snap his pincers at me. If the rest of my time here had taught me anything though, it was that perseverance was key. It was hard to break through his powerful, armored shell, but with my determination driving me forward, I launched one last gravity well, defeating the crab. With a renewed sense of purpose, I contemplated the significance of the key and armor. The ongoing battle against the forces of Poseidon demanded every advantage I could muster. The journey was far from over, and the treasures I had gained in this battle could prove to be pivotal in the challenges that lay ahead. This key must be for the treasure chest. I have to go back and get its contents. On days 87 to 88, I returned to the treasure chest to find the sharks back at their post. They looked extra vigilant this time. I can't repeat what happened before. I've got to think this one through. I figured my best bet was to sneak around and try to pick off the stragglers, one by one. I slung through dark corners and navigated through thick kelp to avoid suspicion. And for now, it was paying off. It helped that my defenses were so high now. One-on-one with me, they didn't stand a chance. Finally, I thinned out their numbers enough that I knew I could ambush the remaining guards and win. The tides have turned. I leapt out from my hiding spot and attacked. I ambushed the remaining guards with a supermassive black hole, sucking them all in, and then unleashing an explosive blow, killing them all at once. Thanks to my plan and powerful abilities, there was nothing stopping me. Now time for that treasure. I used the key to open the chest, and inside there was a powerful mace. This is the crucial piece to defeating Poseidon. As if summoned by his name, the sea god himself appeared before me.
Armed with that or not, I will never lose to the likes of you.
Don't underestimate me. I've defeated other gods before you, and you're next! With my new mace in hand, I charged into battle. On days 89 to 90, I was facing off with the god of sea, Poseidon. His attacks were swift, and each strike through the water left a trail of bubbles, swirling around me and clouding my vision. He was clearly in his element, moving through the sea as if it was nothing. I would have to think fast to gain the advantage. Poseidon was fierce, but I had new weapons. Using the mace, I was able to fend him off. With one last blow of the mace, I struck him down, snapping him out of the influence of the Reaper. Poseidon looked at me with a new light in his eyes.
Bronzo, is that you?
Sure is. Good to have you back.
That cursed Reaper took over so many minds, but you've helped so many of us. The only god that remains under his influence is Zeus, but he is the mightiest of us all.
As if on cue, I heard the sound of thunder roar at the surface of the ocean. I'm going to check that out. You stay here. I swam up and discovered Zeus flying in a cloud overhead.
At last, I have found you. Your little quest ends here. Pest.
Zeus then teleported us away. On days 91 to 92, I found myself on the top of a mountain, locked in a harrowing confrontation with our own leader, Zeus. The weight of the situation bore down on me as I implored with a mix of desperation and hope. Please, I don't want to hurt you.
You never had a choice. Face me or die.
With a heavy heart and a determined spirit, the fight commenced. The clash was fierce, emotions tangled with every strike and parry. My resolve burned brighter with each moment, fueled by the desire to free Zeus from the mind control that had ensnared him. I used all I could to try and free Zeus, but nothing seemed to be working. Zeus unleashed his mighty thunderous power to try and suppress me, but by now I had grown all too mighty to be hindered by his strengths. I retaliated by sending tons of godly power his way and utilizing my mace to try to purify his soul. It seemed as if neither of us were going to give in to one another anytime soon. Snap out of it, Zeus! The battle was a grueling testament to the inner turmoil both of us faced. And then, against all odds, the moment came. Zeus fell before me. Yes! Yet my triumph was short-lived, for a horrifying truth revealed itself. Zeus rose once more. His attacks continued with an unrelenting fervor. The realization struck me hard. Defeating him had not shattered the grip of the mind control that bound him. What's going on? In a desperate bid to gain distance and clarity, I ascended into the sky, finding refuge upon a cloud. Why isn't he snapping out of it? Before I could find an answer, an ominous figure materialized. The Reaper himself emerged. His presence loomed, and his voice carried a haunting assurance.
Because my grasp on him is far greater than you realize.
On days 93 to 94, in the presence of the formidable Reaper, disbelief and urgency tinged my voice as I questioned him. What do you mean? The Reaper's chilling response echoed, his tone dripping with malice.
Unlike the other gods, you won't be able to free Zeus. The only way to get him to stop attacking you is to kill him.
No, you have to be lying.
Deny it all you want, but there is no saving him.
Despite the struggles and battles I had endured, a heavy weight of defeat settled over me. It was difficult to fathom that all my efforts might lead to this unthinkable choice.
Kill Zeus or save the world. It's your choice.
The Reaper then teleported away, and I was left there in awe. There has to be another way, and I think I know just the person to ask. On days 95 to 96, I returned to the mystic forest and reunited with Athena. She was the goddess of wisdom. Surely she must know another way to solve this.
Bronzo, I was able to evacuate the wildlife earlier, but what brings you here?
I need your help. I explained to Athena everything that had happened since I last saw her, and how now I was being faced with a terrible decision to kill Zeus, or let him kill me. There's got to be something else I can do.
Yes, there is a darkness consuming Zeus's mind. If you can enter his head and defeat it, you may be able to free him from the Reaper's mind control.
How would I do that?
With this.
Athena handed me a map.
This map will lead you to the fruit of the gods. Its power will allow you to enter Zeus's mind and face his darkness head on. But make haste. It will only be in bloom for a few more days, and afterwards, it will vanish for 1,000 years.
In that case, there's not a second to waste. Thank you, Athena. On days 97 to 98, I arrived at the designated location on the map. My gaze settled upon a mystical tree standing before me. Its branches reached skyward, and at the bottom of the tree trunk, the fruit of the gods. That has to be it! With determination fueling my actions, I walked up to grab the fruit, but my efforts were abruptly halted by an unexpected appearance of a golden monster, Talik, who emerged with a claim of ownership.
You're not getting your claws on that. It's mine.
Talik's defiance was met with my resolute determination, and a battle for the future of the fruit ensued between us. I drew my hammer and attacked him, bringing down its might with fury-filled blows. He seemed to have some kind of magnetic force that pulled me in, a lot like my own gravity well power. It made it easier for the both of us to strike each other, but his armor, gilded as it was super tough to break through. The clash was fierce, and the power of our strikes matched the intensity of our rivalry. Locked in a fierce struggle, neither side showed signs of backing down. However, the urgency of the situation became apparent. Time was running out. The fruit of the gods was on the brink of disappearing, and the stakes higher than ever. Realizing that every second counted, I pushed my limits, mustering all the strength to break through the enemy's defenses. Throwing one last gravity well, I ran for the prize. Out of my way! I dashed to the pedestal and claimed the fruit of the gods just moments before it could vanish into oblivion. Then I turned back to Talik, intent on delivering the final blow. As he was on his last legs, I summoned one last flaming power with my scythe. Talik was defeated, and I emerged victorious. However, the triumph was short-lived. The sky darkened, and before me stood Zeus, his presence both daunting and haunting.
No more running, you coward!
I won't! In a final act of desperation and determination, I consumed the fruit of the gods. On day 99, within the confines of the dark void, an eerie atmosphere surrounded me as I confronted a sinister presence. The shadowy figure that had held Zeus captive within his own mind. The gravity of the situation was undeniable as the creature taunted me.
Well. Looks like the little Hydra found his way here.
You've hurt our leader long enough. Let him go.
Never. I'll consume his every thought in the name of the Reaper.
Then you leave me no choice. The dark figure fought with a long scythe, allowing it to swing at me from a distance. Cloaked in shadow, the monster spun toward me with a powerful attack, turning himself into a whirlwind of blades and darkness. And if that wasn't enough, in the midst of the battle, the shadow monster summoned an army of skeletons to help out, which meant that I had to fight even harder. Through unwavering determination, I emerged victorious against the formidable shadow monster. The battle's end brought not only relief, but also a tangible reward, a surge of energy and a newfound strength, symbolized by a cache of hearts and a new weapon. It was a dagger that could shoot whirlwinds and sliced and diced through the air. Wow, this is awesome! As the darkness of the void seemed to disintegrate, I was abruptly pulled back to reality. Before me stood our leader, Zeus.
Bronzo, is that you, my boy?
Zeus! The moment was a long-awaited reunion, a chance to finally bring back Zeus from the clutches of the shadowy force. But in a cruel twist of fate, a sudden attack of darkness struck him down with a tragic finality. My heart shattered as Zeus's lifeless body floated up into the heavens. Zeus, no! Just then, I looked up to see the Reaper looming over me.
You've interfered with my plans long enough!
On day 100, I was standing face to face with the embodiment of darkness itself. My anger and grief merged into a fierce resolve. You monster! You killed our leader!
That's what you get for messing with me!
I'll make you pay for this, I swear!
You may have freed the gods from my mind control, but you can never forget that I still hold ultimate power!
It doesn't matter how strong you are. I'll always come back to fight you again and again.
Tough talk from a glorified lizard. I'm going to do what I should have done from the start. Kill you right here and now.
Gleefully, the Reaper surged forward in a burst of motion and attacked. His arms whirled in sync to claw at mine, deathly necrotic energy dripping off of the tips. It felt like his nails dug straight through my skin, ripping my very essence from my body. I drew my new weapon and lunged at him, sending vortexes of wind at him that pooled at his bones. Next, I equipped my hammer and hit him with a searing blow after searing blow. The energy keeping the Reaper together seemed to crumble, and before I knew it, he had fallen to pieces, leaving only a skull on the ground. Or so I thought. A black void of energy began to swirl around it. His lifeless body grew anew, and he became an even scarier Reaper. No! You're supposed to be dead!
You can't kill Death himself.
He was now a massive, hunched-over beast whose withered form loomed menacingly over me. With a roar, he darted at me, massive arms carrying him forward. The Reaper was my toughest foe yet. He was stronger than all the other gods combined. Everything I threw at him seemed to be not enough to dethrone him from his power. Eventually, I had enough. I thought about everything I had been through and channeled in all of my power from the gods. I then honed in and unleashed my most powerful blast onto the Reaper, obliterating them into thin air. Yes, I did it!